Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Here I am. It's not a proper mini live challenge. These few lives are not going to be proper mini live challenges. They're just going to be me chatting to you where I am. And I'm in Marsalforn. I don't actually know if I've said that right. I've spelt it on the little uh, piece of information. I don't know what to call it underneath my name. Marsalforn, and it's a bay that's in Gozo, which is the other island of Malta. And we left the main island of Malta yesterday. No, this morning, and got a little car ferry, and they look like like real car ferries, but they're just they've been scaled down. And it about 25 minutes on the car ferry to get over to Gozo, which is the other island, which is much smaller. And we then headed off to see the megalith sites. It's quite funny because Tim always, when we go away, wants to visit the churches, and me and the kids want to visit archaeological sites. So we went to see something called Gigantia. And I will definitely be Gigantia, definitely not be pronouncing that right. And it is one of the oldest megalithic sites by the people who built temples in the world. These temples, they call them temples, but they're megalithic temples, and they reckon it's around about 5,000 years old. But there are people in the world, the famous archaeologist history fella, Graham, I can never remember his surname, Graham Hancock, who believes that these incredible structures are so massive, not just these structures, lots of other structures like pyramids, etc., were built by a far more intelligent being, a far more intelligent nation of people than was originally thought. So it's fascinating. When you go around these big structures, and they call them temples, and they're all designed in the same kind of shape, which is a little bit like cloverleaf, really, but it isn't. But it's they design them in a particular shape, and they're facing a particular way, and they are massive. I mean, massive. The stones are so big, and they're building walls that are 7 meters plus high. It's when you look at them, and I mean, of course, nowadays a lot of them have fallen down. They're being protected now, but a lot of them have fallen down. A lot of weather has got to many of these stones, so they don't look as neatly packed as they used to be. But it is mind numbing when you think, how did they manage to drag these massive megaliths all the way up a hillside and plant them in a position and they didn't fall down? How did they know what to do? How did they know how to do it? How did they do it? It is incredible. And so we went to see that. And the reason they call it Gigantia, again, I probably haven't said that, I definitely won't have said that right, is because there's a lot of folklore as well surrounding these big megalith sites. And they believe that it was giants. This is part of the folklore, that giants came along and built these structures because they just sort of picked up stones and moved them. A bit like if we were to build a dry stone wall. In comparison, that's how they imagined that these giants did it, because nobody can come up really with a suitable answer. It's like Stonehenge. It's the same sort of problem. But with Stonehenge, you get these massive megaliths, and they're in a circle that, as we know. But these structures are structures that at one point would have had a roof on them, and they're massive. They're not so massive when you go inside in terms of the size of the rooms, but the actual structures themselves are incredibly big and fascinating. So we did that. hear an aircraft coming over the top. We went up to the Citadel in Gozo, and it's so high, and I don't know if some of you might know, but I am terrified of heights. So the girls were having a good giggle and taking photographs of me looking terrified, and as I was keeping well away from the side. And in fact, where I'm talking to you now in our new hotel, I am quite high up. For me, I don't like it, so I've shuffled towards the door, and we're on a bay in Marsalforn. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. So let me just turn it around so that you can see. So this is the bay that we're on. It's surrounded by buildings here that all look like they are a cross between something kind of Moroccan-y, Egyptian-y, African-y, and then there's also a big Latin feel as well. You can definitely feel the mixture between the Italian, the Latin-y feel here in Malta, and the African influence as well. It's an interesting culture that has derived over centuries from these two quite well. It sits, doesn't it, in the Mediterranean? Sits opposite, in the middle of these two big countries. And you can definitely feel that influence without a doubt. Lots and lots of English people come here because it's English speaking, and it's warm, and it's very lovely too. You get lots of French here as well. I mean, all nationalities. There's all nationalities come, but we've heard lots of French because, of course, it's not far for them to come really on a flight. But it is a truly amazing place, and for archaeology and looking at these massive megalithic structures, it is fascinating. And these temple builders, which is what they called them, suddenly disappeared, and other in the other ages, other nations started using the temples, and they found lots of different bits and pieces in there, and they reoccupied them. But the actual people who built them, they don't really know a lot about at all, and they suddenly disappeared. It's just spooky. It's really spooky. All right, I don't know if I can put this on screen, so let me have a look. Suzanne Shide's here. Undercover Carnivore. Dawn Lim says hello, lovely day lady. Camilla's here. Maylin's here. Hello. Becky Harding's here. Hello. Susie Pemberton's here. Hello all. Ali Halfpenny. Hello. Lots and lots of slaves. Well, yeah. I don't know. Hello, says Marion Caffrey. I don't know. They just don't know enough. I mean, they were obviously places of great ritual, and their version of our big churches today, I suppose. That's what it was. But it is a crazy thing. And you see these big round boulders that are around here and there. And of course, that's the only explanation that they have as to how they got these big megaliths to the place, to the area where they were building. But how on earth did they get these incredibly heavy stones up above each other? I mean, there's part of the megalith that's falling down, part of the temple that's falling down, and so they put big scaffolding up around it. But that's modern day scaffolding, and that's trying to support a wall. They didn't have that back then. There aren't a lot of trees on Malta, so they wouldn't have had a lot of wood. I mean, there are trees. I mean, back then there might have been more trees. I don't know, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating. Anyway, that's that. We're going out for dinner in a moment. The girls are just chilling out. We felt it was quite a busy day today, and we went round we did the Blue Grotto, which was lots of little caves. We went round this morning in a boat. I'm having a lovely time. It's been a wonderful day. We've packed so much into this fuel now. It's called the Calypso on this bay, and we've got more travelling to go around and see stuff tomorrow. We don't know what we're going to do. We might go to Camino Island and see the Blue Lagoon. I don't know. We're being proper tourists. But I wanted to, I'm talking about hoof care, I wanted to just quickly touch on an interesting concept that somebody mentioned on the HM public page today or yesterday, I think it was today, as a comment when we were sharing Pluto, the change in Pluto, and bringing him back to balance again. Isn't it interesting that, and this person said, this lovely lady said, you know, it's coming down to owners now, owners of the world, who are going to have to change this. What is worldwide abuse? And it is worldwide abuse, because it's such a lack of knowledge about what the natural foot is, and how the natural foot behaves, and how Mother Nature, she never made anything random, because random would have been too difficult. You know, everybody says, oh, treat the horse as an individual. Yes and no, in a way. Yes, because they all have different environments and etc. that they live in, different owners. But no, because they're all built on a scale in proportion with each other, and their bones. That's how they have been built. She couldn't have been the best engineer in the world and created lots of different versions. She created a template, a blueprint, and everything came off that. And the reason that we have gone so off course and have been going off course for so long, and it is not getting better, is because majority of the world don't have that blueprint. She's offered it up for people to see, but because people have lost the blueprint, they've lost the map, it becomes random. The way that they treat the hoof becomes a random exercise, a random trim. And that's really interesting, isn't it? To think that because of that, we now have, it's more than interesting, it's shocking that because we now know that it was never random. It was always built to a formula, and built to, it couldn't be random, built to a, that when we have, I think I've come back, that when we go beyond that by just ignoring that blueprint, we then cause worldwide. And it is a shocking horror story out there. Every day, Bethan at Gorsworth Track Livery gets messages with people who've seen her posts, and it's the same with us. Every day, people see our posts and they send us messages, and the images are all the same. We've got rotated hoof capsules with great big heels, and many people are now sending us some of the x-rays that they've had, that are the sequential x-rays, and you can see the heels going up and down and the palmar angle going up and down, and you can see how the hoof capsule's going out of balance and they're taking too much toe, and P3 is getting perilously close and in some cases penetrating, and all of it is being excused by blaming on a disease. Laminitis shouldn't even be a thing in the world, and we shouldn't be looking at the diet. We have been taken far too far down that rabbit hole. Laminitis is only a thing because everybody gets the balance wrong. That's what laminitis is. And the subsequent tearing of the laminae by putting P3 in a hyperpositive position, by putting the hoof capsule in an incorrect balance, obviously is going to cause inflammation and pain. And then we put our job, what we specialize in, is putting horses back to their balance, getting them back to where they need to be, growing parts of their foot that have been removed that shouldn't have been removed, and taking away parts of their foot that shouldn't be there, that they allowed to be there because they couldn't see balance. That's our job. And when we do that, we don't have that laminitis anymore. Horses recover because they heal their laminae and they become sound, and they grow out the old separated imbalanced hoof capsule with a balanced hoof capsule and go on to be fine. And Angela Garberg, I don't know whether you're watching Angela, she said something a little while ago. She's one of our admins, and she said, isn't it amazing that in fact what we're seeing here is the ability for horse owners to not be afraid anymore of the dreaded laminitis. They need to be afraid of the dreaded hoof care, of the dreaded imbalances that are being caused by the hoof care professionals, and the fact that the vets can't see it, never have seen it, still don't see it. That in some instances, we need to take comfort from the fact that it isn't a mystery dietary disease that causes the P3 to rotate in the hoof capsule and the laminae to fail. So we should take comfort in the fact that isn't it fantastic that if you have your horse's feet balanced, they're going to be safe for the rest of their lives. Equally, how terrifying for owners who have been battling a disease for the last God knows how many years and had so many horses put to sleep, and it really was never a disease in the first place. It was just people not following Mother Nature's blueprint, her blueprint that was put in place because it cannot be random. It can't be random. People scoff at the hard sole plane as if it's some thing that HM made up, as if it's something to shy away from because it's, oh, the toes are too long, too long, and the heels are too low. If the toes are long and they're because they have a lamella wedge, that's not something we caused. That is caused by those who did not follow Mother Nature's blueprint. And how shocking that people should come onto their Facebook pages, trimmers, vets, etc., and they openly will say, no, each horse is an individual. We're after certain angles, and following the hard sole plane can't possibly be right, and we don't do that. What you're actually saying when you won't follow, you willfully will not follow Mother Nature's blueprint, is you are saying you think it should be random, that you don't think she was a good enough engineer to make it to make a blueprint for all equines, and therefore you think you know best, and you will trim the horse's foot your way, willfully disregarding Mother Nature's design, which means you're winging it, you're making it up. And that is why we have laminitis in the world, folks. Not because it's a disease caused by that mythical problem with diet management. It's because the hoof care professionals have lost the blueprint. They don't follow it. They never had it. And that's what we are busy doing day in, day out, and teaching our students. So one of the biggest themes that what we talked about last week at the training camp was balance and how to achieve it, and how you've got to stop looking at the foot and start seeing it. So it's an interesting thing, and putting Pluto's x-rays up, us sharing them, and Bethan putting them on her page. It's so interesting that there are so many, but not so many, a few people who just so don't want to believe that this is the case. And I understand it, but we've got to get over that. You've got to get over it. And so they were saying things like, oh, we can see bull nosing in the first x-ray, but in the first image, but not in the next. It's there. You're just not looking. You're looking at the foot, but you're just not seeing it. And also maybe perhaps because they just don't understand there's been a change of angle. The first x-ray had a line on the dorsal wall. There are so many things that if you critically assess those hoof capsules, you can see they were only taken a few days apart from the fact that you can see exactly where that dip in the hoof wall, the dorsal hoof wall, changes. You can see they've not been taken weeks and weeks apart. It's like they continually want to get a gotcha. And it's so sad, isn't it? Because all of this noise, all of this nonsense, and then we see it on other pages. Oh, I think the heels should be higher. Don't they look better? All of this nonsense, if it just stopped and people just went, it wasn't random. It's a blueprint. We just don't, we haven't followed it, and we should. If we just stopped and did that, honestly, I can tell you, hand on heart, 100%, we'd cure it. It's nothing to cure. We'd cure the eyesight problem that human beings have when it comes to horses' feet. Honestly, imagine that. Imagine how it could change tomorrow if people went back to following her blueprint. It's a crazy thought. We won't stop pushing. We won't stop fighting for this. We won't stop showing the world what's going on. So many people think that bringing the horse's foot back to balance so quickly is not the right thing to do. I can tell you it is definitely the right thing to do, because the alternative is P3 osteonecrosis, and that we can never pull back from. Horses need their balance back, and it's not as easy as just creating balance and then thinking that you've done it. You need to be on that for the rest of that horse's life, and we've got to find ways to help owners stay on top of it, because it's so very easy to let heel creep commence. And yeah, it is interesting also, isn't it, that we are now gathering so much data. We have got our hoof care pros out there gathering data. We've got the students gathering data. We are taking x-rays of horses before and after trims on a monthly basis, showing videos, showing them walking, showing them moving. We are doing more than any other organization in the world, and yet we are still being held to even higher standards than that. Yet one person, one detractor from us, can put one static image on their Facebook page and say, this, believe me, because I'm not going to give you all the other evidence. You just got to believe me. That's if we are being held to such high standards, we should hold all of them to high standards. Just saying you think that the horse's feet and heels look better to you, it's not random. It isn't random. It's not about whether it looks better or not. It's about keeping to the blueprint. It's a thing. Okay, so what we got going on here? Marianne, hello, says Alex. Becky says, glad you're having an amazing time. It sounds wonderful. Hi, everyone, says Lydia. Susie says, I recently watched a webinar from a young vet at vet school teaching on treatment for laminitis, chopping toes, raising heels for clogs and stall rest. She then said both cases were put to sleep. Now, I have to tell you, Susie, it's awful, isn't it? We deal, and they think what they genuinely think they're dealing with is something they can't control, and yet this is something they can control. That's what the shocking thing is. Only today, I've been seeing horrible examples of animals who are, the feet all look the same. They've got these horrible high heels. P3 is about to penetrate, and nobody knows what to do about it, and they're sticking the horses in casts, and they think that that's giving them a bit of relief, and they're so terrified it's going to penetrate. So the horse is in a box for months and months on end. I see it every day. Bethan sees it every day. And when we tell these people it's the hoof care, you've got to sort the hoof care out ASAP, some go, oh my God, and we watch the penny drop. and as that penny drops, the realization of what we're telling them, the shocking realization of what we're telling them, after they've had spent God knows how much with vets and farriers trying to fix a problem that they were causing in the first place. When that penny drops, it's scary. And then we have other people where they just refuse to let the penny drop. They refuse to listen. They want help, but they won't listen. They refuse to listen or refuse to believe that it could possibly be due to these lovely people that they have now become quite friendly with, because they've been treating their horses for the last God knows how many years, months, etc. Scary. And until they understand that there's a blueprint that needs to be followed, I'm afraid horses will continue to suffer and continue to be put to sleep, and they will continue to fail. They have a 99% failure rate in the equine world when it comes to the traditional equine world for long-term soundness going forward with these animals. And yet here we are proving that we have 100% success rate. And it sounds crazy. It isn't. We have 100% success rate as long as these horses are not suffering from hideous osteonecrosis and arthritis. Why do we have 100% success rate? Because we understand the blueprint. That's the difference. And we realize that it actually isn't to do with the disease at all. Marion says, oh my God, Jenny's here. Hey, Dawn says, my farrier laughed that my horses are sounder than when he did them. Fabulous, my ex-farrier. Anita says, thank you. You've all got. Dawn says, did you have a nice evening yesterday and how was dressed? Oh, it was nice. We were in a cave. We were underground in a cave, not too deep. It was a very nice evening. It was very, very, just a few tables, and we were very tired at the end of it though, because there was quite a lot of time in between each course, but it was beautifully lovely, and we were very tired, and I slept a long time last night. For once. Lydia says, oh yes, that heel creep, my measurements each time I trim has kept that from happening now. Thanks, Lindsay and Gary. Awesome, Lydia. Marshall says hello and thanks. Lindsay Dinsdale says, hi, I'm new here and I can't get enough of all your wisdom. My horse's shoes are coming off. I can't believe how blind I've been. My poor horse. We're with you, Lindsay. Get them off. Start following and start believing in Mother Nature's blueprint and not what all of those people out there that can't see that have been doing. Good for you. We're totally behind you. Marshall says, I'm finding a new open-minded people, and honestly, I'm kind of shocked. But yay to you. Sounds lovely. Glad you slept well. I am glad I slept well. Okay, 27 minutes. I don't know how I kept that going. Look at it now. As you see, it's getting darker. It's getting all twinkly out there now. Look, can you see? I hope you can see that. I don't know if you can see that. It's all nice and twinkly out there. All right, I'm going to go because we're going to get some proper trousers, proper clothes on. Don't know why I said that. And we're going to go have something to eat. Don't know what I fancy tonight. I think I might fancy a pizza. That's what I think I fancy tonight. And a beer. And just sit and look at the twinkly bay and contemplate how the hell we're going to make people understand that this equine world in hoof care has to change and everybody has to go back to Mother Nature's blueprint. How are we going to do that? I'll leave that with you. We'll all think on that together. We'll all put our heads together. All us Phoenix warriors, we'll all start thinking together, shall we? All right, my lovelies, take care. It's been lovely having you with me again tonight. Sorry it's not a proper challenge, but that's my challenge to you. Let's all put our heads together and think how we're going to make these big changes. Okay. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye now. Bye.